In this video, I'm seeing if AI can achieve the simple real-life task of balancing this pole, an inverted pendulum. If you're interested in AI and robotics, which there's a good chance you are if you've clicked on this video, you've probably seen the countless videos of reinforcement learning simulated tasks in virtual environments. I've made a video about reinforcement learning that's 1.5 hours long, which evidently was so boring that YouTube TV has been showing it to people with insomnia to put them to sleep. So now that I've gone through all that math and taken 7 years off my lifespan, I need to actually apply it to something so that it wasn't a waste of time. Let's try and take it out of the screen, out of these virtual environments, and see if reinforcement learning lives up to the hype in the real world. Before we begin, big shout out to these patrons for being supportive of these mediocre videos that come out once in a blue moon. So first, let's build the thing. The inverted pendulum itself was easy, just an aluminum rod mounted to a 3D printed piece, and on the plastic shaft are these bearings. There's a gap here, not because the last bearing was too fat and got stuck when I pushed it on. We don't fat shame here. But because I added some super glue to secure the last few bearings so that they don't slide off. But the glue dried too quick as I was just pushing it on, so now this bearing is lonely. As for the rail assembly, I built it from the parts of this old 3D printer that I disassembled, as well as a custom 3D printed base plate to replace the old heavy metal base plate. In terms of electronics, we need a motor to move it around, and then in order to prevent it from running into the sides, a limit switch, which I use to program a homing sequence. And then an angle sensor to measure what angle the rod is at currently. Now with this angle sensor, I pulled off the jankiest solder I've ever done, where I realized after the fact that I needed to connect this green wire to the black wire, so I used a box cutter knife to scrape off the side of the black wire and solder it that way.
What the hell?
On top of that, there was a tiny wire strand that almost short-circuited two of the wires, but luckily I noticed it with a multimeter and scraped it off. Finally, I added some washers to the end of the rod to give it more weight, because I'm pretty sure having more mass at the end of a pole makes it easier to balance. I'm not sure if I'll be successful in training an AI to balance the pole. This project will need all the help it can get. Now that we've got the inverted pendulum built, we can start trying to train an AI to balance it through reinforcement learning. If you'd like to get a more detailed understanding of reinforcement learning, I'd recommend you to go watch the 1.5 hour video that I made explaining it, and try not to fall asleep in the process. I'll try and remember to leave a link in the description. But just as a brief description of what it is, reinforcement learning basically assumes that there's an agent, which is under direct control of some strategy. In this case, the agent is the logic that controls the motor to move the inverted pendulum, and then there's the environment, which includes everything else that is not under direct control, but that you want to interact with through the agent. In this case, the environment is the physical inverted pendulum hardware, including the moving cart and the pivoting pole, also known as a cartpole. The agent can output actions to interact with the environment and observe the state of the environment, as well as a reward signal, which tells it how well it is doing. The actions, states, and rewards are numerical values, and in this case, the action is just one number, specifying the velocity at which to move the cart. The state consists of 4 numbers: the position of the cart, the sine and cosine of the pole's angle, and the pole's angular velocity. The calculation of the reward involves the cosine of the pole's angle, which represents how upright it is, and the cart's position to try to keep it in the middle. In terms of the actual algorithm to learn the best actions to output given an observed state, we won't go into too much detail, but it'll be a deep Q network, or DQN. This is because a DQN is relatively simple and straightforward to implement. And also, to give credit, I found inspiration from this video by Sardor Israilov of this inverted pendulum trained with a DQN, which they also published a paper on. I'll leave a link in the description. I tried to mimic some of the training parameters that the paper mentioned, which I'll show on the screen for a bit. In particular, since a DQN only supports discrete outputs and not a continuous output value, at each time step it will actually select between 3 options. go left, go right, or stay still. And this is in contrast to other methods, where you can output a single number which takes a continuous range of values. The frequency at which to send control signals is 20 Hz, which seems rather low, but I think it's reasonable considering you're running a neural network training loop at the same time, and it seems to have worked well for Sardor Israilov's paper. Not gonna lie, this looks pretty advanced, and it took like 6 hours to train the pendulum. I have no idea if I'll be able to get it to the same level. Probably not, to be honest, but I did notice they said in the video that most of the time was actually just spent waiting for the pendulum to settle down into the resting position in between episodes. So in this regard, I'm actually one step ahead of you, Sardor. I stuck a servo to the bottom of the table, which will stick out this cardboard paper thing whenever the pole needs to slow down. I may not be able to get your amazing pole balancing results, Sardor, but I have at least figured out the pole slowing down method, and I will be publishing a paper on it very soon. This is actually quite useful because I need to take a time lapse with my camera, and I don't want it to take up 3 times as much storage as it needs to. So let's actually run the training. Here's the moment of truth. At first, the cart was just twitching around haphazardly, with the pole mostly in the downward position and not swinging too much. But quickly enough, the pole started swinging around a bit more, as the agent probably learns that if it moves side to side in a periodic motion, the reward seems to go up. And then, with a bit more training, and then a bit more again, by the 20th episode, it's already able to get the pole above horizontal. We can see a steady upward trend in the reward graph across the episodes in the top left, reaching a height of around 350 in reward. But then eventually the program crashes. This is related to the graphing library that I used to display the graphs. I couldn't figure out how to get matplotlib to render graphs in real time to integrate with the Pygame visualization, so I ended up using this library with 6 stars on GitHub, and there was a bug in the library. NSFAC, if you're watching this, please fix your code. I think it's to do with a division by 0 error when you're trying to calculate the y-axis scale, but all the y values are the same, so the range is 0. Okay, if you didn't understand any of that, don't worry, let's move on. After adding some tiny offsets to my y values to try to work around the bug, I launched it again. The training progress was saved, so in theory it should start off a bit more skilled than at the start. And indeed, before it was around 350, but now after a few episodes it got up to around 600. After that, the rewards went up and down for a bit, but eventually, the pole was really starting to get up there, and it finally got past the top position and went down the other side. However, eventually it started spinning the pole around very fast. Maybe because it figured out that it can get a high reward like that. Maybe it was a local optimum, where it figured out one method that kinda works, but it's too hard to figure out the actual best method, so it just sticks to the method that's easy and okay, but not the best. Now the program crashed again due to the same bug, so I used this as a chance to change around the reward function and add a penalty for spinning too fast. How did I come up with this factor of 200 here? I have no idea, I just went by feel. This is one of the problems with reinforcement learning, you never really know what's the best reward function. So off we go, continuing the training from the checkpoint where we left off again. This time I started it from a higher epsilon value, so the randomness is a bit higher at the start, and it'll perform worse, but it's a good chance to explore more diverse experiences, especially since I just changed the reward function and it needs to get used to it. The performance improved kinda gradually and inconsistently until, oh my god, it's doing something. It's doing something. I think we're getting somewhere, guys. It exhibited 1 or 2 signs of chasing after the pole to keep it balanced at the top, but then it was still reverting to the spinning action a lot. Then the program crashed again, so I decided to finally ditch the graphing library and just go with good old print statements, letting it keep on running with low epsilon, meaning low randomness, seeing if it could refine its technique and master its craft. And then from then on, to be honest, it didn't improve too much after that. It was maybe showing signs of chasing after the pole to keep it balanced a bit more, but I couldn't get it to really balance for any meaningful period of time. I even tried training it for a couple more hours the day after to see if it would improve, but nothing. The performance kinda plateaued. I think this was the best I was able to do. Unfortunately, here's where the productive part of the video ends. The original plan was to try and achieve successful pole balancing through multiple different methods. I would do 2 different forms of reinforcement learning: IRL training, which is what we did, and sim to real, where you train the model in a simulation, then try to apply it to the real-life task. Then I would do maybe 2 methods from control theory: a PID controller, standing for proportional integral derivative, and an LQR controller, which stands for linear quadratic regulator. And then I would compare the different methods. What ended up happening was, for the IRL reinforcement learning, as we've seen, we've made progress, but didn't get all the way. I tried way more stuff that I didn't show in the video, including changing the physical setup and removing the extra mass and stuff, but nothing really worked. For the sim to real, I also made some progress. I got the sim part working, where I measured the masses and distances of different components and timed the speed of the cart, and managed to replicate it in a physics simulator called Mujoko. And I trained a model to balance it using a library from Google DeepMind. And I found an issue which prompted them to update the front page with a warning as well. But I had no clue how to get the to real part working, which is arguably the more difficult part. I must have mismatched something, and it just keeps going to one side for some reason. For the PID, I actually got it to kinda balance it at the top, without the swing up part, but it keeps drifting to one side, and falling off when it hits the edge. Supposedly, I needed to do a cascaded PID, or a PID inside a PID, where the inner PID tries to keep the pole at a certain angle, and the outer PID decides what that angle should be so that the cart stays in the center. But I haven't done that. And finally, for the LQR, I just looked at all the math and didn't understand any of it. This is definitely the one where I made the least progress.
What kind of place is this?
So basically, look at this iceberg. The full iceberg is the full scope of the problem that I initially planned to solve with the 4 different methods. This top 10% here is the little progress I actually made. Then, whatever amount of time I spent achieving the easiest 10%, I probably spent 2 or 3 times that amount of time just trying to get anything else working. Just trying to achieve another 10% somehow, and then I can reframe the video to have reduced scope to say that that was the full picture. But obviously I didn't get anywhere, and that's why this video took a ridiculously long time. This is simply a skill issue. I do not have the skills yet, and it's at that point in the engineering process where it would be wise to stop, take a step back, and restart sometime in the future with new knowledge and a fresh perspective. So, I'm watching you, cartpole. Today is your lucky day, but don't be fooled. One day I'm coming back, and I'm taking everything that is rightfully mine. I'm coming back for the full iceberg. I'll be back.